According to the Census Bureau, in the next decade, the 60-plus population is expected to increase to 32% of the total adult population, and if household formation and ownership rates remain unchanged, the change in population levels alone would mean the 60-plus population could approach nearly half of all homeowners in the next decade. Now, along with this battle of deciding to sell their home is also the emotional battle that most homeowners over 60 are going to go through. Now, many people in this age group have been in their homes for many, many years. They have many memories in that home, like raising families and all those holidays spent year after year. And even though you have maintained that home, a lot of these homes have not been updated for a very, very long time. Now, if this is you, I want you to know that you are not alone. This is normal, and I'm here today to help you get through this very, very emotional and difficult process. Now, today in this video, I'm going to cover many things that people will go through when they're selling a home, when they are over 60. Stay tuned through this whole video, as there are very important things you must understand and get prepared for. Now, first off, I tell people, when you're buying, it's business, but when you're selling a home, it's very personal and very emotional. When you are ready to sell that home that you've been in for so many years, those emotions come out more than ever. I mean, let's face it, you've raised your family there, you've had all those grandkids over all the time, all those celebrations, milestones, and holidays, all celebrated in that very home that you have had the difficult conversations and made that decision to sell that home. Now, here are some things you can do to overcome these emotions. First, try to focus on why you're moving. Are you moving to be closer to family? Is the home just way too much to take care of? Do you need that fresh start? And the one thing to keep in mind is to take small steps in this process. That home, which is full of memories and a lot of items, you'll just need to take that basically one room at a time, and do not, and I mean do not, try to do all this in one day. And a big struggle for most emotionally is that idea of actually downsizing. Even though the home is too much to take care of, you never want to feel that you've reached that point in life where you just cannot take care of, say, the lawn or keep the home clean like you once could. I mean, let's face it, the fear of losing your independence you once had, and now the thought of moving somewhere else to meet new people and take on a total new environment is very hard. There's that familiar restaurant you love to always go to, that grocery store you frequent quite often, and even those friends that you're going to leave behind, and depending, obviously, where you're moving to, how far behind, will make you very, very resistant to this change. Now, unfortunately, for some people, they've even lost a spouse, so moving forward in life without them can really make you resistant to downsizing and moving on altogether. To prepare yourself and help with all the emotions, let's address the different stages involved in the process, and I hope, again, all this will make it easier for you. First off is understand today's buyer. Yes, today's buyer, with the internet and access to all that data, most of those buyers have done all their homework up front. Most of them want a turnkey home as they have very high expectations. Today's buyers don't really have the time or the means and the connections to remodel a dated home. If your home is dated, you may want to do some upgrades now, but usually it's not worth it to do all that. Just price your home accordingly to the updates that your home needs. Now, a good, experienced real estate agent can help you with this part and also the pricing part involved in all of this. And in the link down below, I have many agents out in your area that are experienced with this type of situation. Now, preparing yourself for selling your home is so emotional, and the pricing can take on that emotion as well. And that's a hard one we battle, as we all feel our home is always our castle and it's worth way more than it really is. And at the end of the day, pricing it accordingly will undo some stress and anxiety of going through numerous showings and not getting any offers, and also disrupting your life even more. Now, part of the reason you're moving is due to not being able to maintain that home anymore. And there are some things you can do that will help with the pricing and also getting your home sold a lot quicker. Now, there's no need to remodel the kitchen or bathrooms, But let's just look at some major things that are easy to address up front. Go out, have a roof guy come over, a reputable roof guy, let me stress, and look over your roof. And usually they can issue what's called a roof certification, and that usually runs about $200 to $400, and they're usually good for about 5 years. And if by chance that roof's damaged, then you can go ahead and file a claim ahead of time to get that roof repaired while you're in the process of selling. Now, the next thing you can do is get an HVAC professional out to clean and service your furnace and also the air conditioner if applicable. This, again, is fairly easy and inexpensive, usually under $250, and it's good to have for that home inspection time as well. And if you have those leaky faucets or pipes, just get a handyman out to take care of all that up front. And you can also get your carpets cleaned, and usually it can be good enough that those carpets looks like they even have a few more years of life left in them as well. Now, these are all just suggestions that are cheaper to help get the home sold, and especially when it's time for that dreaded home inspection. I mean, having that roof certification and furnace paperwork can help you out a bunch in the long run if you get that done up front. Now, speaking of home inspections, this will be part of that transaction that can just be very emotional. I tell all my sellers, this is probably 90% of the battle when you are selling your home. This home that you have such pride in, all those memories, is going to get things singled out that you may or may not want to deal with. I know that we always hear people say, just sell the home as is, but I'll tell you, 98% of the time, potential buyers always do home inspections and ask for items anyway. Now, items that may need repaired in this inspection, electrical panels may need updated, or maybe there's a foundation issue you were unaware of, or even a sewer line that always works fine, but that sewer scope shows a break that needs a repair, and all this can definitely make the emotions even higher for sure. And by the way, me saying all this, I don't want to freak you out. I'm just trying to prepare you, like I would my clients, to expect some additional negotiations to help with any of those major things found wrong at the time of the home inspections, as they do come up, unfortunately. Now, speaking of costs for inspections, make sure you're totally aware of the cost you're going to incur when selling that home as well. Things have changed recently with the NAR settlement. Now, you've always been able to negotiate fees with your agent, and now you can even choose how to pay a buyer's agent. And do you even want to pay a buyer agent at all? Many sellers are still helping out on this part of the transaction, but this is now your choice, just how you're going to handle that, instead of like the old traditional ways. So just keep that in mind when you are talking to your agent. You also are going to have title fees and other closing costs, as well as prorated property tax fees and other miscellaneous fees like HOA transfers if applicable. You'll also have some costs related to repairs on the home, and of course, those dreaded moving expenses as well. And when you are ready to list, make sure that you always have your agent give you what's called a net sheet up front so you can understand clearly and exactly what all the charges are and what those estimated net proceeds to you at closing will be. Now, you've made your decision to sell, and now it's time to get prepared for the market. And after all those years in your home, it's now time to declutter that home. Now, I don't mean the home's a disaster by any means. This is just something that needs to be done with everybody. And this is a very tough one for everyone, trust me. I mean, there are so many pictures, furniture items, closets and drawers full of things. And not to mention, if there's a basement, that usually ends up with most of the items as well. And again, the emotions are already running high. And when this part comes into play, I stress to people, just pick one room at a time to get started. And I have done a video in the past on how to declutter your home that you can check out sometime if you'd like. Now, I do suggest just to take your small wins and do not, and I repeat, do not try to do a declutter all in one day. Give yourself plenty of time, and remember, your home is filled with all these personal items, and with the downsizing and restarting your life, hopefully you'll have family members there to help you along the way as well. And also, if it's time, give away items to people that you no longer feel the need that you have to hold on to. And the hardest part is parting with these personal items, but this is all about making your home appealing to the next buyer. Another thing that needs to be considered is the market uncertainty. Yes, if you're in a slower market, just know that it may take longer to sell that home, and if the market is slow, just keep your expectations in check, which is also very hard since everything else is so emotional anyway. Maybe you timed it right and it's a great seller's market by chance, and then you can sell that home in a matter of days and maybe not even have to do any of those repairs or give away any sale concessions due to the demands of the market. Now, you're always going to have that question, when is it a good time to list my home on the market? And my answer to people is if they need a time, I always like the beginning of spring, which I really like the end of February, first week of March. But really, the perfect time is when you are absolutely ready to get your home listed. So even though there may be certain times of the year that may be better, this all still comes down to everyone's individual situation. Selling your home may mean buying another replacement home as well. And as discussed, you may be moving closer to family and even to another city to do so. Always consider your long-term needs on this. Things like buying a ranch-style home with all main-level living, is that an option? Would a townhouse with an HOA be an option for maintenance-free living? Maybe even consider a multi-generational style home, which have become very popular these last few years. That might even be your next home. But what matters is that you find an area and the type of living space that will make you happy, since this is so emotional leaving your existing home you've lived in for so long that the last thing you need is more stress and anxiety in a place that you just don't enjoy. Now, I have referenced time and time again in this video, the emotions are high when that day comes to sell your home that you've lived in for so long. Now, make sure you seek support from family and friends to help guide you along the way, as that support will make this process so much easier for you. Also, get a good real estate agent that has dealt with this type of situation, as that'll be an added bonus just to make that transition so much smoother. And at the end of the day, you may just decide you're just going to stay where you're at. I mean, there are a lot of people that just decide to do this. I mean, let's face it, that home is your investment, and along with all those memories and just the security and the comfort of what you're used to, you may just decide to stay put altogether. Now, there are some ways you can utilize your home equity to help with these living expenses and so forth. You can consider getting a HELOC or a home equity line of credit where you can draw on your home's equity if you ever needed to. Now, the only downfall on this option, and especially in a market like we're currently in, those interest rates are really super high. And as with HELOCs, they're usually tied to an index. So this may not be such a great option for you. But another option, which is popular with people especially over 62, is a reverse mortgage. People 62 and older can take advantage of these products, and you can live on your home's equity with these types of loans, and they help people stay in their homes if they really want to do so. But make sure if you go this route, you work with a reputable lender that can explain this program to both you and all your family members so everyone is on the same page and understands the long-term consequences of these types of loans. And reverse mortgages are a good product if explained well. And just remember, this is about you and your happiness, as some people may try to talk you out of that as they feel it will just take all your equity away. And yes, over time, it will chew into the equity a bit, but you have to do what feels right for you and if you want to stay in that house altogether. Now, selling a home that you have lived in for so long is a difficult choice. And I do hope that this video has helped you out and feel better about that decision. Just know you're not alone, and so many people are in the same situation. And with the support of family, friends, and a good agent, you should be able to get through this emotional process and move on to that next journey in life. And if you found this video beneficial, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone else you may feel will benefit from this. And if you need help on any of this or any questions at all, my contact link's down below. I'm David Novak, and we'll see you next time.